trick is also the central unit of the skate video. In fact, it's really the whole point of the skate video, to capture that elusive and transitory moment into a permanent, perpetually replayable document that proves that you did it. This video here is one of the first videos produced by Oliver, the young Chinese boy you saw at the beginning of my presentation. What's interesting about it to me is the narrowing of the focus on the trick, as opposed to his later, more narrative videos, which broaden the focus to the way tricks are strung together to tell stories in the context of broader architectural settings. Peter Beck, a sports physician who applies dynamical systems theory to the mastery of athletic techniques, argues that one of the most important aspects of expertise in sports is the ability to strategically focus one's attention on processes occurring on particular timescales in the learning process, and as the learning process unfolds. And I think this video illustrates this. It also illustrates a stage in Oliver's education as a video artist, as he experiments with perspectives, the framing of shots, and the interplay of light and shadow. In longer videos showing more daring tricks, what often happens in the editing is a stretching out of these moments, a slowing down of time to reveal the beauty and the intricacy of the actions.
You are so beautiful.
These slow motion segments in skate videos, however, are not just about making the trick look beautiful, but also about mediating the objective, observable time of the stationary observer with the relative psychological time of the skater in motion. That's really the way it feels when you're doing it, my informants insisted. Like time is expanded, like you're outside of time. The next scale up is that on which the line occurs. A line is a series of one or more tricks done in succession along a trajectory of surfaces and obstacles. This line here, for example, consists of 3 tricks. A backside 180 down 6, a half cab flip that we saw before, and a kick flip down 3. It's in the process of doing lines that the skater rewrites the city, carving new pathways through its terrain. It's a resequencing of the urban landscape, not just a series of tricks, but a series of relationships with the material world, and a way of reordering those relationships in time. It constitutes the linking together of the rhythms of different textures of the surfaces upon which tricks are performed, creating what Lefebvre calls a garland of rhythms. Now, if tricks are difficult, successful lines are almost impossible, right? The flawless lines portrayed in skate videos actually rarely happens. What generally happens is a lot of falling down, illustrated here. Ouch. And so the lines documented in skating videos and the chains of lines that give the impression of seamlessly traveling through the urban landscape, in a sense, portray skating not as it is, but as it ought to be. They are at once documents of serendipitous moments and the compression of many hours and days of failed attempts. They are at once documents of what really happened and idealized versions of what might happen or could happen or should happen, produced through careful selection and editing. Now, this is where I think these videos function in particularly powerful ways for skaters, allowing them to string together their successes into idealized portrayals that reveal not just their past glory, but also their future potential. But it's not only the successes, also the failures that are documented. And these too are sometimes woven into narratives, but not heroic ones like we saw before, but comic ones, in which skaters rehearse an attitude of ironic distance from the sometimes less than comic consequences of their activities.
Don't worry, be happy now.
tricks and lines are practiced and perfected in the context of sessions, which typically last several hours and have their own rhythms and spatial and temporal organization. This is a time-lapse video of a skate park in Hong Kong on a summer evening, which can give you a sense of the cyclical polyrhythms of these sessions, with skaters moving in wave-like formations back and forth across the park, queuing up to attempt obstacles, moving periodically back and forth to the benches along the side of the park to smoke and chat before re-entering the queues. Movements which both contrast and complement the more linear rhythms of the traffic on the highway above them. These rhythms also take on a spatial organization linked to longer timescales of skaters' learning trajectories, with younger, more inexperienced skaters occupying one section of the park, in this case the section at the bottom of the frame, and the more experienced skaters practicing grinds in the section above them. These sessions take on different spatial temporal organization when they involve skating street spots rather than skate parks, a practice universally preferred by all the skaters I've met. These sessions almost always involve migrating from spot to spot as police or security guards chase them away. In a single night, a group of skaters may visit 4 or 5 spots throughout the city. And so in the case of street skating sessions, the sessions are entrained in a unique way to the circadian cycles and the schedules of other residents of the city. In Hong Kong, street skating is almost always done at night, partly because the streets are too crowded with pedestrians during the day, and partly because the authorities are less likely to tolerate such breaches of public order in broad daylight. Another reason is that, unlike many other cities, skating is more possible in Hong Kong at night because of the brightness of the city lights. And this has become part of the unique character of Hong Kong skaters, where skaters sometimes refer to themselves as children of the night, a title valorized in this video made by a group of local skaters.